Okay, take 5. So I've now been in my 30s for almost 2 years, and recently I've had some enlightening epiphanies around navigating my 30s. So in this video, I wanted to share the 3 things that I've learned that have helped me the most around navigating my 30s. But of course, there are things I might have missed or things that you potentially want to add, so I'd love to hear from you all on anything else that you think is really important around navigating your 30s. Alright, so let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the first lesson. This lesson to me is the most important because I truly believe this is something that I'm going to carry not only into my 30s and for the rest of my 30s, but also for the rest of my life. And it's something that I hope everyone here, no matter what age you are, can practice. And that lesson is, or the mantra is, it is okay if you don't have life figured out yet. I feel like this is something we deal with at any age, but especially in your 30s, we feel like we should have our life completely put together. And I think that's partially our own internal pressures, but also society's pressures. With the amount of people I talk to, and myself included, on believing that they should have done something by now. So that could be, I should be married by now, or I should own a home, or I should be making more money, I should have got promoted last year, I should know what I want to do for the rest of my life. These are such big shoulds, and it's so unfair of ourselves to put all of this internal pressure when really life is meant to go at your own pace. And what's ironic here is that we just left the decade of our 20s going into your 30s. This is me speaking specifically to people in their 30s, but your 20s were a time of so many ups and downs, and they were a time for true self-discovery, but really it was the beginning of that. I feel like self-discovery really happens in your late 20s and your early 30s, but your 20s were a time to be free and to enjoy life and to figure out just start to figure out. So it makes complete sense why we are just beginning in our 30s to really be reflective and think about these things. And so it's really, really normal and okay to not have life completely figured out yet. All right, so the next lesson is one that I really dug into this year, and I think really had one of the bigger epiphanies, and that is, you are more than your job. So just for a personal example, earlier this year, I was so stressed and worried and spending so much time thinking about my job and like, okay, should I try to get promoted this year? Am I doing enough? Like, what do my peers think of me? How can I make sure I'm doing the most to optimize my career? And I was spending so much time during my job being stressed, and then after work hours being stressed, and I was letting it bleed into my personal life. And I think this is something that a lot of us go through, where you spend potentially 5 days a week, 8 hours a day at your job, so it takes up quite a bit of your time. So your brain starts to think, oh, because I spend so much time on this thing, I should prioritize this above all else, and this is gonna become my identity. And for those people who have their dream job, props to you, that's the dream. But for those of us who are, content, or, maybe you're either content or not happy in your job, it does not define you. If you met me on the street, I would not introduce myself by saying, hi, I work at this company and this is my title. I would tell you, these are my interests, this is what I like, what I don't like, these are the places I like to go, my favorite movies. Like, there's so much more to a person than their job. And so this is a firm but gentle reminder that you are not defined by your job. Please don't let it overrun or rule your life. I feel like that is where we start to lose a lot of the small delights and pleasures of life. Like, there's so much more to your day than the 9 to 5. And so, reminder, you are so much more in your job. Invest in your hobbies, invest in knowing who you are, and invest in figuring out how you want to spend your time that isn't spent at a desk. And finally, the last lesson is to focus on you. I feel like in my 20s, and a lot of people I talk to, it's definitely a time where you look outward to the world to tell you who you are, or you look outwardly to get validation. And that could be, trying to get validation through how you look, or trying to get validation through others or trying to get validation through accomplishments. And I really do believe it's important to strive and want to better yourself. I'm all about self-improvement, but a shift that I believe happens towards your late 20s and your early 30s is that you really realize that the focus needs to be inward and the validation needs to come from yourself, because you're going to end up chasing happiness constantly since it's always outside of you. And there's this Michael Phelps, oh my God, photo that I really love, and I'll hopefully put it on the screen after editing, but it's from his time in the Olympics, and he's swimming, and there's a comparison where he is fully focused on his own lane, and there's a competitor next to him who is looking at Michael Phelps. And I think that is a perfect example of how, I'm sorry, I think the light's going to change because people are moving, but that is a perfect example of how you need to really focus on yourself, focusing on your own lane, being who you are, doing your own thing. That is the most important thing. Don't look to others. Don't compare yourself. Comparison is truly the thief of joy. I know that is a tagline that is said quite a bit, but it is so true. And we're so privy with social media culture and just the ease of seeing these perfect lives online to compare and to think that we ourselves are not doing enough or we're not good enough. And that is so far from the truth. A picture online tells you nothing. It could be completely edited, fake. You don't know the backstory of what happened before that moment or after that moment. And so this is your reminder to focus on yourself, look inward, be like Michael Phelps, focus on your own lane, and you will win at life. All right, that is it for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this video. It means the world to me. I am a small YouTuber who is trying to grow her audience. So if you are wanting to figure out life with me, please subscribe. If you're in your late 20s or 30s especially, would love to have you join the community and hear from you. Thank you. Bye.